In an era of soft launch romances and hard launch toxicity, Phabo delivers a soundtrack for the gray area. Let's talk about it. What's going on, y'all? It's your man Lighthouse, and you're now tuned into another episode of Everything Ain't For Everybody. And today we'll be discussing Phabo's Ratchet and Blues album. There exists a particular archetype in modern R&B. You have the lover who confuses provision with devotion, one who translates jealousy into a dialect of protection, and one who translates surveillance into a misguided tenderness. On Ratchet and Blues, Phabo does not merely sketch this figure, he inhabits him, he interrogates him, and ultimately allows him to sing his contradictions aloud. What could read as an indictment instead becomes anatomy, a dissection of contemporary masculinity rendered in satin falsetto and streetwise confession. The album's title carries lineage. Since 2014, Phabo has issued installments under the Ratchet and Blues banner, building a catalog that braided church-trained vocal discipline with the candor of curbside confessionals. This latest offering feels less of a sequel and more like a coronation, the definitive articulation of a sound long in incubation. 15 tracks may appear expansive, but Phabo fills the space with studied nuance. He's provider and player, jealous lover and wounded romantic, savior and skeptic even. But rather than flattening these personas, he lets them coexist, revealing the emotional mathematics beneath each gesture. The song Acts of Service crystallizes the project's central thesis, because you have domestic intimacy with incense lit, lunch ordered, and floors clean colliding with territorial instinct. The tension is deliberate. Phabo understands that devotion and dominance often share vocabulary, and he stages that uncomfortable proximity with melodic ease. On the track One of None, generosity is rendered in fiscal metaphors, but not to glorify possession. Instead, he exposes the psychological ledger some lovers keep, where gifts blur into leverage and nostalgia becomes currency. Throughout the album, transactional logic is not celebrated so much as dramatized. The song Something Different, which is one of my favorites because I love when an artist uses the Prince flange effects on the drums, right? I like that. The Dream used to do it, and it's just always good to see instances of that. But anyway, the song drapes ambition and seduction in the same silk scarf. A chance airport encounter becomes a meditation on rescue fantasies and blurred intention. The charm is intoxicating precisely because it is self-aware. Phabo sings sweetly enough to seduce the listener into complicity, then leaves us questioning our own tolerance for the behavior described. When relationships in Ratchet and Blues solidify, they do so under pressure. The song Win or Lose featuring Kiana Ledé functions as a duet of mutual self-recognition. Two lovers fluent in dishonesty yet unwilling to sever the thread. The cinematic melancholy bolstered by production from Mario Winans elevates the dysfunction into something almost operatic. The ambiguity, are they confessing or romanticizing, is the point. Phabo resists moral binaries. He prefers to let the bruises bloom into full color. The track's Safest Place and Calm and Collected, the latter featuring Nate Curry, continue this inquiry. Admissions of flawed temperament arrive not as excuses, but as revelations. The jealousy that corrodes becomes an artifact to examine. In lesser hands, such themes risk caricature. Here, they are textured and unsettlingly human. The album opens with Love on the Floor, whose skit foregrounds recklessness before melody even blooms. Yet even here, Phabo frames desire not as chaos, but as atmosphere, a climate of urgency that pervades the record. Sex, money, and possessiveness becomes recurring motifs, yes, but they are treated as components of a broader thesis on intimacy in the digital age. The songs Rubber Band Man and Fur Coat intertwine aspiration and romance, revealing how economic mobility and emotional ambition often arrive braided together. What sustains the project is voice. Phabo's instrument glides from feathered falsetto to conversational cadence with technical assurance. Years in church choirs and cipher circles manifests its phrasing that feels both devotional and improvisational. When the track Lights Get Low ascends into its hook, where rules dissolve in dimness, he renders seduction not merely as act but as atmosphere, a space where consequence temporarily suspends itself. Moments of levity surface like sunlight through sustained glass. On the song Before We Get In Here captures the ritual of leaving grievances at the door. The song Anything For You finds humor in the awkward alchemy of friends becoming lovers. Here, the transactional rhetoric softens into self-aware charm. Phabo reveals he understands the absurdity embedded within his own archetype. Across Ratchet and Blues, Ratchet signals rawness, emotional, unfiltered ego unmasked. Blues evokes melancholy and inheritance, the sonic tradition of turning ache into art. Phabo merges them not as permission to misbehave, but as permission to confront the contradictions of modern love. The album does not sermonize, it dramatizes. It trusts the listener to parse through the differences between romantic gesture and romanticized control. In doing so, Phabo delivers a project that feels culturally literate and emotionally unafraid, a body of work that situates himself squarely within contemporary R&B's ongoing conversation about masculinity, vulnerability, and power. But that's my time, y'all. Thank you for checking out another episode of Everything for Everybody. Let me know what you think about Phabo's album, Ratchet and Blues. And as always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you can stay in the loop. Until next time, take care of yourself. Peace. And we out.